What's going on, everybody? It's Pelfrey. This is a RedSea Reefer 250. Got the Aquatic Life T5 fixture with the Kessel A160s and a lot going down in the sump area. But to pick up where I left off on the last video, I moved one of the corals from the frag rack, which I removed the bleached corals, threw them away. I moved one of the corals from the frag rack into this area right here. And within 24 hours, it is bleached out. So I did test alkalinity. Alkalinity is at 7.9. I did test nitrates. Nitrates are 0. I tested phosphates. Phosphates came back with the HANA ultra low phosphorus checker at 6, which I believe makes the phosphates at 0.02. That's about it. I mean, I didn't check magnesium, calcium. I don't really feel like I need to at this point. It's very strange to me that that bleached out. So it could very well be me changing out all 4 T5 bulbs at one time, bleaching that coral out, or I don't know. I'm literally at a loss here. This piece has been here for a couple weeks now, and it's deteriorating. Whereas, I mean, these pieces over here on the frag rack look like they're doing just fine for right now. So, I don't know if it's a flow issue. So I'm running the Gyre pumps on the Oceanic Gyre cycle, I think it's called, the OGC, both of them. So they go up to 50%. The reason why I have them set at 50% is because that's as low as they'll go without updating the firmware, and I haven't updated the firmware on my controller just yet. So I don't know if this is necessarily a flow issue. Please excuse any and all background noise. I do have 5 gallons of the RedSea Blue Bucket mixing here. The little bucket that they sent me busted open, so now I have it in this bucket, and the Coral Pros in that bucket. I need to see if I can give that away locally. It's about half a bucket or so. I'm not going to use it anymore, but my objective is to test the alkalinity in this, with my tank being at 7.9. The alkalinity in this water should match or be close enough to the tank water. So shout out for that piece of advice right there, because it is something that I completely overlooked. But yeah, I'll move this salt into this orange bucket as soon as I get the salt, the Coral Pro salt, gone. I'm sure that there's somebody probably local to me that'll take it. Like I said, it's half a bucket or so. Multiple people brought up some very good points. Number one, I have the skimmer set to dry, skim dry, excuse me. Number two, the Voss bottle right here that's low has Acropower in it, so I've ordered some more Acropower to regularly dose the tank with Acropower. So I do have the Neptune dose, so I can only run 2 solutions at a time. I'm not dosing any alkalinity or calcium, so I went ahead and used one of the pump heads for the Acropower. So I need to either decide if I'm going to get another dose or get like a simple BRS doser and just run it on the Acropower. And I do have one more slot available on the EB8. I could move one of my heaters from 4 or 8 over and use one of them too for a doser. The Santa Monica Rain 2 has, I've been reducing the light schedule on it. The last time that I drastically reduced the light schedule on it, I thought that I had dynos in the tank, but I'm reducing it by like 30 minutes a week. So real quick here, the gate valve here, flawless. Installed it, tuned it, haven't touched it. It's been there for like a month now. For those of you that either have rimless tanks, you'll be able to relate to this. If you don't have a rimless tank, this is just kind of a public service announcement. Pretty particular. You can see that there's salt here. I'm trying to clean this up, but the clowns tend to stay back here. And on rimless tanks, this is what you get. You get salt. I know that I didn't depict that very well, but I try to go back there and clean it pretty often. It's pretty annoying. Usually just try to drop it there, and I'll clean that whenever I'm done. But I really don't want this stuff to get on the floor. I'm sure the floors are probably ruined behind the tank at this point anyway, but that'll just give the wife a reason to get new floors. So yeah, if you don't have a rimless tank, I do love the rimless tank and the aesthetics of the rimless tank, but it does take some extra care to keep it clean. This is the freshly mixed salt water. Go ahead and press the button there. Like I said, the tank's at 7.9, 9.1. So I guess it's important to say that I did mix up the salt to 1.026. So I do believe that 9.1 is still in the range, an acceptable range. Going forward, what I'll probably do is mix the salt up to 1.025, test that and see how that happens. But again, I did mess up a little bit, and I put a half a scoop of the Coral Pro salt in the 5 gallons of water. Now that shouldn't make that much of a difference, but maybe it did. And since I'm sitting here, might as well go ahead and discuss this. Since I had my own refractometer issues previously, I now use calibration fluid every time I use it. I make sure that it's calibrated, because you will be completely surprised to know that when you think that this is calibrated, it's way off. So I use this solution, I calibrate it to 35 parts per thousand, and make sure my salinity is correct. So I'm satisfied with 9.1. Like I said, the Coral Pro would have mixed up at about 12. Doing a 5 gallon water change shouldn't affect too much. And since I don't have any nitrates in the tank, I might as well go ahead and dose a little bit of nitrate in the tank. 5 gallon water change is done. Got the tank cleaned up for the most part. I did do a quick par check with the Seni. So basically, over in this area right here, I was getting like 50 par. Where this bleached coral was, I was getting 150. Same in this area right here. The tip of this frag rack right here is at 150, 160. Whenever I tested the par, I left all the return pump, or the return pump and the gyre pumps on. At the top of this rock, I was getting about 180, 190. Top of this rock is like 300. I did turn the Kessels off to see what kind of par the T5s alone were getting, and the T5s by themselves, for instance, in this particular area right here was like 120 or so, and then you turn the Kessels on and it jumps up 20 or 30. So the Kessels ramp up to about 62% intensity, and then like 40% color or whatever. And I did adjust the color just a little bit, just because I'm running Blue Plus actinic T5 bulbs in this Aquatic Life fixture. So I'm gonna let probably another hour or so go by, and I'm gonna check alkalinity again. Since I was at 7.9 earlier this morning, I wanna check it and see if the water change did anything to the alkalinity. Back to the par discussion. I don't think that the corals are getting too much par, and it's quite possible they're not getting enough, and maybe I should increase the intensity on the Kessels, but I'm not doing so just yet. These frags on this frag rack started out at about here on the tank, and they've been in here for 2 weeks now, 2.5 weeks, something like that, and I've slowly moved them up over time. Now, they were probably, I don't know, I'd have to check with battle corals, adamant battle corals, but they were either T5s or metal halide. I don't think he uses LEDs at all. I know at one point he was using reef breeder LEDs, and he could very well be using them still, but I'm pretty sure for the majority of his corals, it's metal halide or T5 lighting. So a couple great comments came in on my last video saying something about mushrooms could be the issue. Apparently they can release something or another. Apparently this leather back here could be an issue. I've seen leathers in other tanks, but I want to go ahead and say that I understand that this tank isn't like any other tank, and that each tank is unique. So I may run a little bit of carbon in the tank 24/7 just to clean the water up if there is any coral warfare going on with the tank or whatever. But I do think that I need to move this frag up a little bit, being at 50 par right there. I just don't think that that's going to be enough par for that coral right there. So I'm going to monitor that piece and move it up as needed. And I want to say I appreciate everybody's comments. I cannot thank you all enough. You know, without you all, I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at today. There were multiple comments on the last video, and they're all very, very much appreciated. And I feel like at the two-year mark, this tank should be further along. But at the end of the day, I'm still a rookie. I've not had a reef tank very long, and you know, for lack of a better term, I may have bit off more than I can chew, but I want to keep going. Let's wrap this video up. As always, I appreciate you following along as I unintentionally kill corals. That Acropower back there is looking quite nicely. It's doing better now that the gyre settings have been toned down just a little bit. But anyway, I do appreciate you following along. Like, comment, subscribe. Check me out on Instagram at Pelfrey's Reef. Check out the website at pelfrey.net. I'll see you on the next one.